Hi and welcome to this overview of the Body Like Butter 10-day program. I'm not going to go into so much detail about what the Body Like Butter method is. I will do that in another video. However, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to basically walk you through the outline of the program, who it's for, and essentially what we cover and what you need to do in your participation during this program. So just as a quick nutshell, we will have 3 parts to the program, essentially. The first part is your preliminary things to do. So you will need to get your equipment ready. As an example, this method heavily uses props, and I have basically shared an entire equipment list with you to help you get the most efficiency out of the exercises. One of the limbs of the method is that we stimulate muscles and we stimulate body parts by creating sensory input, and your props are a really big component of that sensory input. You will learn corrective exercises using really good form, specificity in terms of positioning and setup. So what's also included in this preliminary steps, if you like, or the first kind of phase of the program, is really helpful cues on, and some common cues on how to set up and set in exercises. I can't stress enough how many clients I've seen over the years who genuinely try to their level best to do what they have been told, either by chiros, physios, PTs, even fitness instructors. And I don't always think that the things that they're being told are necessarily bad or not helping them. What I've learned is that not everyone knows how to naturally be efficient in an exercise. And so without actually knowing, you might be diluting the efficiency of an exercise by not doing it very well. So this is one of the key things that you're going to start learning in this program, which is how to do an exercise properly so that you can let the exercise do the work for you. So in this preliminary sort of phase of the program, you will basically learn how to set yourself up with equipment, what to look out for, start learning some basic cues and setup sort of tips, so that when you come to the third part of the program, which is doing the exercise and your homework, you've already got a leg up. The second phase of the program is your assessment phase. The assessment phase essentially takes you through its own four phases of assessments. The first is you will submit your static photos, which is basically 4 different images of your posture, your front, your back, and your 2 sides. I will help you assess those and help you basically pick up on your current postural deviations and adaptations. We then use the information from these photos to then understand what your current body's starting position is. The second stage of the assessment will be your balance testing. During balance tests, essentially this is like an internal body scan, if you like. You are learning what your current spatial sort of deviations are, and you'll combine this information with what you're seeing in the posture images. So for example, if you're standing on your feet and you're standing upright, you might feel like, oh, my right shoulder is like completely like turned forwards. And when you look at the image, for instance, you might see that shoulder's elevated, you might see that the shoulder's kind of going even in the opposite direction. But what this simply does is it helps us kind of correlate what's happening in a static image with your overall balance. And then these 2 pieces of information link us into our third phase of assessment, which is your functional testing. Now, your muscle functional tests are basically designed to help you understand what is not working in your body. Essentially, that's the dysfunctional part, and what is overworking in your body, which is essentially the compensating part. Now, the correlation between the photos, the balance test, and then the dysfunction and compensation testing, the function testing, is that you will have a clear indication on whether the shoulder is the problem, for instance, or whether the hip is the problem, or whether your ankle or your spine or your pelvis are the problem. Because essentially what we're doing is we're taking static images, so basically what we see in your body during a starting position, and then we're asking your body during the function test to move. We're asking it to do certain things. For example, it'd be, let's start with your arms out T position. And if your arms once your arms go out in a T position and you find that an elevated left shoulder comes back into neutral, as an example, this will tell you that even if you have symptoms in this left shoulder or in a hip, and you put your arms out in a T position like this, and everything looks symmetrical, it looks aligned, and it looks good, in other words, then you can be sure that that shoulder is most likely compensating or doing too much for something else not doing its job. And it's a really clever way of eliminating the sort of cat and mouse chase of, my knee hurts, so I keep doing knee stuff, but it's not getting any better. And what this process will do essentially is it will stop the guesswork, and it will kind of redirect you into doing exactly what's needed and what's actually serving your body. Okay, so that's the really cool thing about the assessment phase. And then the fourth part of the assessment is how to sequence an exercise or a routine. And I won't go into too much detail about this. You will learn about it in the program. But essentially, one of the questions I always get asked, and have always got asked about this method and the programs that I teach, is, well, I have a specific problem. Let's say my problem is a back problem. And Jane Doe on the other side, she has a scoliosis problem, and Joe Bloggs on that side has a neck problem, as an example. So how does this one program with all the same exercises help each of us individually? And the quick and short answer to that question is the exercise sequence pathway that you will learn in this program helps you tailor the order in which you will do the exercises that are prescribed. So Joe Bloggs over there might start with, say, exercises 3, 4, 5, 6. I will start with exercises 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Jane Doe over there might start with exercises 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, as an example. So we might have a whole list of exercises 1 through 10, but each of you are going to do it in a different sequence based on this exercise pathway test. Okay, so I hope this also really clarifies that even though we're going to be treating so many different clients and so many different pain types and symptoms and diagnosis in this program, each and every one of you are going to get a tailor-made approach simply by way of the framework in which this entire method, but also the program, is structured. And then the third part of the entire program is essentially you doing your homework. And this will take kind of two ways. The exercise homework will be pre-published inside the course, and then you will meet with me during a live call as per the schedule and the times kind of allocated for these calls, during which I will basically guide you, I will help you modify, I will help you improve your setup, I will give you cues on positioning to help you improve the efficiency of the exercise routine so that you can get the most out of it. Okay, so that is generally an overview of this 10-day program. Most of my programs follow the same method and structure, but essentially that's what it is. So first, it's the get ready phase. Get everything that you need, start getting to know how the exercises work, helpful cues, learn that setup and form are really, really important. The second phase is the assessment phase. There are 4 specific phases: the photo submission, your balance testing, your function testing, and the exercise sequencing pathway. And then in part 3 is the doing part, the exercise part. But when I say doing, we're not going to actually be doing, we're going to let the exercises do the work for us. And that's the other really cool, quirky thing about this method, is we follow this kind of minimum effort, maximum satisfaction type approach. And again, you will learn all about this when you kind of join up and you start and you get practicing. But for now, that is a rough overview of what the 10-day program is about. All the live calls are inside your community channel. They're already scheduled. The links will be available through the community channel. The replays will also be available through the community channel. So essentially, there's a lot less emailing. you will basically find everything that you need between your course module and the Kajabi Communities module. And you will have a dedicated 10-day program circle inside your community, and then various channels within that community within which to communicate with me based on whatever topic that you need to communicate with me. So that's essentially it. I'm not going to take much more of your time, but please make sure that you go through every single module, try and go through every single lesson in the program. It's designed and it's sequenced and it's basically set up to kind of lead you to maximum results when you start doing your homework. So I will see you inside the live calls. I can't wait to connect with you. For any questions, get inside the community and I'll chat to you then.